Hi guys, it's Phil Graham here, and you're probably wondering why I'm up against this big flower wall. Well, it's a beautiful day in Ireland, as you can see, and it's my wife's 30th birthday. Now, the reason why I'm shooting this video is because I want to give you 3 key insights into how you can manage your diabetes around junk food. Now, typically at birthdays, weddings, sometimes funerals, sometimes stag do's, hen do's, whatever, we're surrounded by buffets and mountains of cupcakes, cocktail sausages, sweets, cake, alcohol. And safe to say, it is very hard to resist a lot of those foods. Unless, of course, you're an athlete and you've got a competition coming up and you've got your head absolutely locked in. Or you just don't like that kind of food. But to be honest, I'm yet to meet one person in the world that doesn't love cupcakes. Now, in terms of managing your diabetes around this, I want to give you guys some key insights. First of all, a lot of the food here is very high in sugar, very high in fat, relatively low in protein. So even though there's going to be sandwiches here, there's going to be cocktail sausages, usually you find the protein content of these foods are the lowest in relation to all the other macronutrients. So carbs and fat take up the majority of the nutritional profile. And as a result of that, what tends to happen is we collect and consume a lot of calories. When you combine carbohydrates, proteins, fats, and salt together, it's what's called hyperpalatable. And when it's hyperpalatable, it's very easily consumed. So it's very easy to go well over our calorie limits and drive obesity, drive fat gain. And the fact of the matter is, I know 90% of you watching this want to lose weight, but don't look after your total caloric intake. You don't have any fixed goal. You don't have any fixed physical activity level to follow. And while you may make one healthy food choice, you'll make a bad choice the next, and it'll be yo-yoing back and forth with no real level of accountability or awareness of what you're actually doing. You'll just think you're eating healthily and trying to get lean. You need to bear in mind that calories, even in people with diabetes, once your blood glucose is controlled, is the #1 factor that determines whether you gain or lose weight. So, 3 strategies for eating around these kinds of events. First things first, bear in mind what you eat over one day is not necessarily going to drive obesity or make you into an overweight person. It's what you eat over time. So when I know I've got an event coming up like this, the first thing that I do, let me go back into the sun, is to ensure that I have compensated my calories across the week for an event like this. So it's Saturday today, and what I've done over the first Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 5 days, is I have cut my calorie intake down by 400 calories per day. So if I multiply 400 by 5 days, that gives me 2,000 calories. Now, I have 2,000 calories that I'm in a deficit right now. Bear in mind, I've also got my normal calorie intake that I'm consuming. I'm trying to lose fat at the moment, and I'm losing fat on 2,500 calories. So I need to consume 2,500 calories per day in order to lose weight based on my current physical activity level, which is around about 11,000 steps per day. I use a Fitbit to count that, and I train 5 times a week for 30 minutes. So whenever you look at that fact, I've got 2,500 calories to consume, and now I've got an extra 2,000 to consume. That's 4,500 calories. So I've carried over the calories from the week into my weekend. Also, bear in mind, I've fasted for the majority of today. I trained this morning, I had a little bit of food afterwards, a protein shake and an apple. So my body has been sustained, the blood glucose levels have been sustained from training this morning with that food. I trained fasted and I did a whole body circuit, and then I replenished with amino acids and carbohydrates and some vitamins and fiber with the apple. The night before, as in the Friday, because it's Saturday today, I had the bulk of my food in the evening, so that when I woke up on Saturday and was able to train fasted, that it was all in my system. Now, I've only had the guts of what, 300 calories today, which gives 2,200 calories left, plus 2,000 calories to play with, because I've banked them and put them in to the end of this particular day. So that gives me a lot of wiggle room and a lot of flexibility with my food choice. So I can have a lot of food tonight if I really want. I can have a little bit extra to drink. And we all know that alcohol has quite a lot of calories, especially when it comes to things like Baileys and Guinness and stuff like that. But to be honest, I just like to have gin or a little bit of red wine, which is relatively low in calories. So it's going to take quite a bit to accumulate a lot of calories. A glass of wine's around about 120, gin's very low, especially with a diet mixer. The problem is when you get drunk, you will want to overeat, or you'll not be mindful of what you're eating. And there is a possibility that you may overeat or you may mismanage your blood glucose. So those are three things that I want you to bear in mind when it comes to avoiding fat gain with parties and birthday parties and all that kind of stuff. So first of all, one, bank your calories and collect them into the day of the week that you're partying. Two, on the day that you're partying, train in the morning, train fasted, have a little bit of food afterwards, then fast the whole day, and your body is very much prepared for a large feast. So if you think about it, I train in the morning, give myself a little bit of food. My muscles are really just soaking for nutrients. Am I hungry? A little bit, but it knocks off after a while. And three, being mindful of what I drink. Being mindful that I don't get too drunk to the point where food choice goes out the window or I increase the risk of injury. So what I'm going to show you now is a little insight into the kind of food that's here, just so that you can see the kind of stuff that I can enjoy. Now, many of you are going to say, oh, you can't have carbohydrates, you're diabetic. Well, I strength train 5 times a week. I monitor my calories. I know my diabetes, I know my body, my blood glucose levels are perfectly managed. And if you understand strength training, carbohydrate is the #1 fuel that drives strength training. So if you want to build muscle mass, if you want to build strength and you want to lift weights with great power and build a well-sculpted physique, then you're going to have to eat carbohydrates. Trying to lift heavy weights for a prolonged period of time and build muscle mass, both male and female, is very hard without carbohydrates. Plus, carbohydrates taste great. They are full of fiber, they're full of vitamins and minerals, and they allow you to stick to your diet. They allow you to maintain a calorie deficit. Remember, if you can't maintain a calorie deficit, you are not going to lose fat. So if you're going to go ketogenic, cut all carbohydrates out of your diet, and then crash in the diet because you're restricting carbohydrates and you crave them, then you haven't really succeeded with your diet. So remember, as a population, I talk about this in the training lab and in my book, we don't have a weight loss problem, we have a weight maintenance problem. And so many people don't get that. They think the ketogenic diet, the paleo diet, all these diets are the answer. But the fact of the matter is, they're not. They're all just tools. They all work through a calorie deficit, controlling calories, bringing them down, and allowing you to dig into body fat for stores. But ask yourself, can you sustain it? That's the thing. So I eat a varied macronutrient diet. I enjoy my food, I enjoy social occasions, and I can still get shredded. I can still get lean and manage my diabetes. Now, some of you are going to ask, how do you inject for all this kind of food? I make sure that I inject 30 minutes before, so that when it comes to eating time, that I am a little bit hypoglycemic. I eat to the point where I feel the hypo subside, and then I take a break. I chew, make sure that I recognize the chewing, make sure that I recognize that I'm digesting the food instead of wolfing it all in, and I just stop when I'm full. It's a big problem with people that they try to talk at the same time and they wolf all this food into them, and before they know it, they've consumed way too much. So that's how I do it. But I cover way more about insulin dosing strategies inside the training lab for carbohydrates, post-workout training, pre-workout, all that kind of stuff. And if you're not a member of the training lab, guys, you are seriously missing out. For only 32 cents a day, get in there. It will change your life. Just look at all the testimonials. See you soon, guys. Check this out. So, as you can see, guys, we've got plenty of sweets, confectionery, and of course, the big birthday cake. Cupcakes, look at those, they're beautiful. My wife's 30 years of age, just like me. You know, when it comes to cupcakes, you have to remember that this icing has butter and sugar in it. So it's not just sugary, it's quite high in fat too. That's what makes it so tasty. Of course, this stuff, when you combine it with this stuff, burgers, tortilla wraps, sandwiches, chicken, this is probably the stuff, if you're trying to lose fat, that you need to eat the most of, because if you eat a lot of this stuff, it will fill you up and prevent you from overeating this stuff. Remember to chew it, let it sit, then make a decision to do something else. We then got lovely salmon rolls here. And again, if you haven't done the fasting, like I said, this stuff here is your best bet to avoid fat gain.